Hey, beautiful souls. I hope you are having the best day. I want to talk about something today that I think is going to be valuable for all of us more and more as we navigate this world that just feels so chaotic at times, and our hearts are opening and we are doing inner healing work and we're starting to feel so much more, and we have access to more information, more energy, more downloads, more energy just overall, and it can be very overwhelming. Our mind and our nervous system, their primary function developed for survival, not to give us peace or joy or happiness or a daily life that feels good. So our nervous systems are no doubt in reactive mode all of the time, especially with past patterns that we have showing up. Somebody said so beautifully that our traumas, whatever they might have been, even perceived trauma, show up not as memories as you might expect, but as reactions. That was such a beautiful piece of wisdom that I wanted to share with you. And today I have 12 tips and tools for us to use. And I'm going to go from the acute, in the moment when you're feeling triggered. And in this case, contextually, I'm using the word trigger to mean anything that happens in the moment when you feel like a gut punch, or your nervous system is on fire, you get angry, or you react in a way that feels in any way uncomfortable. That's what I mean by a trigger. Something in your circumstances, conversation, environment gives you a trigger. It triggers, it pushes your buttons. So I'm going to take it from those acute moments that feel so raw to sort of that medium stage once you've calmed and regulated your nervous system for a few minutes, some tips that you can use, and then some overall tools and tips that will help us navigate life more beautifully, with more grace, with more spaciousness, a calmer sense of self-awareness, and ability to handle life as it comes along and the things that happen in a much healthier way. And this to me feels like a skill that perhaps is in tandem, undoubtedly actually is in tandem with the conscious awakening on this planet. And we're starting to have these extrasensory experiences and access higher consciousness and collective consciousness. And it can be so much. As we said, it can be overwhelming. And we are like these baby wizards, and we're learning how to handle that. And it's going to be a skill, very intangible, but very important going forward, that we can, and I would say should, develop and nurture. So, number one, and we're assuming, again, we're starting with the acute, so you're in the moment and something has triggered you, something has set you off, and you're not feeling good. And I'm going to give an example to you of why this works. I know that it works because I've done it so many times. It's called emotional freedom technique. And all of these things you can look up. I'm briefly going to touch on them to give you the tools, and you can take what resonates and what you're curious about and go learn about it and find out more and play with them, apply them, and see if they work for you. All of these have worked for me. I have been there. This is why I'm sharing these. I find them all extremely valuable. So emotional freedom technique, number one, has to do with tapping on your meridian points, and it is so calming for the nervous system. And the reason I know this, as I said, is I've done it many times. One day, many years ago, I was about to be on a talk show. I was a guest on a show, and I was feeling very nervous. My heart was beating really fast. My body felt on fire. My cheeks were flushed. I didn't have access to my intellectual faculties, because when your nervous system is triggered like that, you're in fight or flight, fawn or freeze, and you don't have access to your reasoning capacity. It's part of our survival mechanism, as we spoke about. So the gentleman who was a co-host and guest with me, he happened to be one of the founders of EFT, and he is a very, very skilled practitioner. And before we went on air, he walked me through a few steps of where to tap and what to say. And it didn't matter if I believed him or not. I followed it because I wanted to feel better, and it worked. I felt this flood of calm energy through me. My body calmed down immediately. My heart slowed down. I was able to do the show with full presence and, speak the things that I wanted to speak and be present for the people I was speaking with. And it was an incredible experience in seeing EFT at work. And I've seen many people do this since. EFT, emotional freedom technique. You can look up tapping, meridian tapping. It is super, super helpful and really good for that in the moment when you are feeling triggered. Number two, I'm going to call state change tools. So things like NLP and Psych K. And again, if you haven't heard of these things, it doesn't matter. You can go look them up. They're beautiful, beautiful tools. So when we are in a place like that, when we're not feeling good and it's very acute, changing your state immediately impacts your mind. It's like a record scratch. For those of you who are old enough to know what a record is, that record scratch sound is just like immediately changes. It's a pattern interrupt is what it is. So NLP, for instance, is neuro-linguistic programming, and it's a huge field of study and application, and it's really, really beautiful. Tony Robbins was a big proponent of it back in the day, and I have done a lot of that work way back when I was listening to Tony Robbins on the beginning of my personal development journey, which has expanded a lot since then. But I found these tips very helpful, and I used those pattern interrupts in moments when I was feeling a lot and feeling overwhelmed, and it works like a charm. So go look that up, and that is number 2. Number 3 is breath work, deep breathing. So in the moment, deep breathing, and you can find a few moments to take a few deep breaths. It's very, very powerful in calming your system down. And the reason for this is because deep breathing could only happen primally way back when we used to live in villages and there were actual tigers or bears, predators that could hurt us, eat us, kill us. When we were breathing deeply, it meant that we were not in danger. So in this modern world where so many things feel to our primal brain like danger, like threat, deep breathing naturally calms it down. And I would encourage you very strongly to look into breathwork and deep breathing because it is transformative on its own as a tool in daily life. If you go to weekly breathwork classes, if you learn how to breathe deeply into your diaphragm, how our body processes breath is life. And breathwork can make a huge, huge difference in your life. It truly is transformational. I've done so many breathwork classes and courses now, and I've seen people just heal and transform and release trauma and expand their awareness. And there's just so much available to us with our breath that we haven't been taught. So I encourage you to seek out that information and play with it and try it. But in the moment that we're talking about, just a few deep breaths, intentional, conscious breaths will bring you back into the present and calm your system down. Number 4 is a timeout. Just like a toddler when they're having a tantrum and they need a timeout just to settle their energy and calm down, we can gift ourselves that same idea, having a timeout. You can step out of your office or close your door if you have an office, go into the washroom, go into a stairwell, whatever you have to do just to take a few minutes to recalibrate and calm yourself. We are responsible for our vibrational well-being, and we haven't really been taught how to do this. And so choosing to take a time out, caring for yourself, that's self-love, that is self-care, that is you investing in your own well-being. Number 5 is sound. It's a beautiful, beautiful way to regulate yourself. So in this category, I would put things like ASMR, which is a super popular buzzword right now, where there are many people on YouTube creating ASMR videos. You can go find one, just put some headphones in. So for this category, number 5, I would suggest carrying headphones with you at all times. We all have a phone. You can pop on a video from YouTube or wherever else if you have them saved in your phone, and you can listen to something that calms you. Sound has a powerful calming effect when we use it in this way. So ASMR videos are where people they're getting really creative with it too, create sounds that are soothing for the brain. Sometimes they're doing a little scratch on the microphone, or there's lots of things. You can go take a look and find some yourself. I have used these many times, and I'm so grateful to these people who are creating these ASMR videos. At first, honestly, I thought they were kind of silly, but I find them so calming. Sometimes I even listen and watch before I go to sleep. So that's how calming they are. So highly recommended. In this category also would fall EMDR, which is a therapy. Again, you would need headphones for it. So good for the brain, especially when you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed. Take a few minutes, and they were made for people with PTSD. And so they're meant to balance the brain and calm the brain. And they work going through both sides in your headphones and ending up in the middle, and they're fabulous. The people who have created these are just a godsend. So enjoy that. I find them super helpful. And then the last one in this category, just as examples, are sound baths. If you can attend a sound bath in person, that's a wonderful thing to do for your body. We are made of frequency, and healthy frequencies are so good for us. But this is talking about in the moment. So if you can take a few minutes, again, on YouTube and online, there are so many videos that people have made where they are using singing bowls, Tibetan bowls, they're crystal bowls, metal bowls, tuning forks, all of these beautiful frequencies that are so good for us. And they act to recalibrate and calm us. So highly recommend those. That is number 5. Number 6 is nature. We are nature, so naturally she is a beautiful healing source of calibration and resonance that helps us get back into health and calm and vitality. If you have access to a forest, that would be wonderful, but if you don't, go outside and find a tree. Go to a flower shop and find a flower and just be with it. I am not kidding you. Any kind of nature is so helpful for us to get back into our true state and feel better. It is so good for us. The earth has a resonance, the Schumann resonance, and that's another thing actually just popping back into the last point about sound. If you look up the Schumann resonance, there are videos that have that running in the background, and we are meant to vibrate at the same frequency as the Schumann resonance, as Earth's resonance, which is why nature is so good for us and feels so good when we are in connection with nature. We are meant to be in connection with nature. We are nature. In case you forgot, so many of us have forgotten. And we live in cities, and that's another thing. So putting your feet on the ground, if you can, actually on the earth, it is literally grounding, it's called, and it is so good for you. It brings up the energy of the earth into your body, and it helps the flow of energy, and it helps dissipate energies in you that don't feel good. And if you can put your feet even just for a few minutes on some grass or on the ground in some way, we're so separated from this in our normal modern daily lives, right? We have rubber soles on our shoes, and we walk on the concrete and the marble, and we're not touching the earth. And it is proven scientifically to actually change our bodies when we do so, which is why we used to live on the land and walk on the earth. And many people still do, but it's harder and harder to do that. If you can, do that. If you can touch a tree while you are doing that, all the better. But regardless, go outside. Get some sun on your face, or some rain on your face, some wind on your skin. Somehow bring some nature into your environment right away, and it will help to calm you. Number 7 is exercise, movement. Move that energy through. Our bodies were not meant to be still and stagnant all the time. Of course it doesn't feel good. Walk around the block if you can. Take some stairs. Take a yoga class. Take a break and do some exercise. If you can't go hiking right now, or you can't go kayaking or do something that's really good, if you can't go dance, of course we can always dance, I would say. Just do a few stretches. Help your body process this energy. Movement is so good for us, and our bodies love it. You will be rewarded with a body that feels healthier, more flexible, more vital, and your energy will flow through, and it will feel so much better. Number 8, which falls a little bit under number 6 for nature, is water. We are made of mostly water, as I'm sure you have heard. And if you are empathic, which so many of us are in this consciously awakening world, and we're healing and we're accessing our feelings and we're noticing that we can sense the feelings of others and things like that, they say that empaths need water. Water is so good for us. And so if you can get out, like I said, and get the rain on your face, or go to a waterfall or a body of water, walk around a lake, go to the ocean, of course, do that. If you can't do that, have a shower. Run a bath with salts in it. Epsom salts, Himalayan salts are so good for us to soak in a salt bath. They say that it takes the toxins out. It helps your body relax. It's just generally really good for us. It's a grounding effect also to be immersed in water. So ideally, go stand by the ocean and let those negative ions in the wind cleanse your energy. But if not, a shower is great. A shower or a bath is great. Drink lots of water. Include water, just the element of water in your life, and you will find yourself feeling healthier. Number 9 is doing things that are monotonous and repetitive. Stay with me here. It's very good for our brain when it needs to just calm from overwhelm to do something that is very simple and repetitive. So cleaning out your car, cleaning your home. Of course, that helps with your sense of well-being just generally because cleanliness feels good and you're purging things, throwing things away. It just opens up and cleanses your energy. So other examples that would fall in this category are, say, puzzles. Online puzzles are something that I do sometimes when I'm trying to fall asleep, and it just calms my brain right down. Or if you have puzzles in your home, you can do a puzzle, or gardening, or playing with clay. Just doing something like that where your brain doesn't have to think a whole lot is really good for you. Okay, so now we come to number 10. It has to do with assessing your behavior. Now you can do this in the moment, and you can also do it on an ongoing basis to really get to know yourself and dissolve some of these patterns that are causing the reactivity and help you open up a space of graciousness. I am telling you, this is a beautiful practice, and it's journaling. Now, whether you write into your computer or make notes on your phone or make voice notes on your phone, which I do a lot, I find it super helpful. And what you're doing is you're getting the thoughts out of the loops in your head onto paper, so to speak, into your computer, into your phone, out of your mind. Of course, you can journal or get your thoughts out in the moment in whatever way you choose to, but also coming back later to that situation and journaling it out, talking about it, thinking about it, really allows you to go inward and take a look at what patterns are showing up. Why might I be reacting this way? It helps so that you can see things with a little bit of a different perspective, and it helps you understand why you're doing what you're doing, and it helps you make a choice, a different choice in the future, because it expands your self-awareness and it allows you to set some intentions instead of just being blind to your own reactions and just being kind of a victim to your own reactions. As Viktor Frankl told us, the author of the wonderful, so much read Man's Search for Meaning, one of our beautiful, most sovereign resources is our choice of how we react. If you play out your existing choices, you know how your relationships are going to be. You know how those circumstances are going to play out because you've done it so many times. A new choice will change the trajectory of your relationships, of your circumstances. You already know how it's going to go if you don't change anything. This offers you a whole new vista of opportunities of how your life can go because you're doing the inner work. The self-awareness is expanding, and you have compassion for yourself, you have more self-love, you're taking care of yourself. And actually, I will share with you that compassion that you have, you see your own patterns, it expands and extends to other people as well. Because you can see when they are in their patterns, and it makes you less reactive and just compassionate. And it's okay. You're just able to let people do what they do, and you're less responding to what's happening and just more able to stay in your own heart because you've chosen that consciously. You also get to trust yourself more, right? You know that things are going to be okay. Once you've journaled it all out a few times, you know that this too shall pass. When we're in a pattern, like a pattern has taken us over, as Eckhart Tolle would say, it's the pain body that has taken us over, we think it's going to be forever. The pattern itself tells us that it's permanent, and we don't see that this too shall pass. But once you journal it and you know from experience that there's transformation available, there's expansion available, there's healing available, there are different choices available, you're going to trust yourself more going forward to make a different choice. All these beautiful side benefits accrue from just this one practice, which is why it's such a big one. Really, really beautiful. I hope that you will do this. Which leads us into number 11, morning and evening rituals. And I will share that all of these things help you have discernment as to what is your own energy and what is the collective, what comes from other people. And you're just going to improve and improve and improve on this skill. You're going to feel better and better because you have more control over your own energy. Like I said, protect your vibe. That's what this is all about. So number 11 is crafting for yourself, investing in morning and evening rituals. Now, this is up to you. You don't have to do this, but it is a really beautiful way to bookend your days. And in this category is the big one, meditation, because we tend to grab our phones in the morning and put our phones away at night as the first and last thing we do. Maybe not everyone, but it can be a really bad habit, and it might even feel fun, but it actually really drains us and it distracts us and it keeps us out of our heart and out of our purpose and out of our presence. So a morning ritual, for example, if we're using meditation, you could just sit still. Just sit in silence, watch the sunrise, just be with your breath, be with yourself and allow yourself to create intentions for your day that come from you, that come from your heart, that come from your spaciousness, instead of already starting with comparison and bad news and all the things that would happen if your phone was the first thing that your brain had access to in the morning. And then in the evening, there is magic to be had, because your sleep is a time when your beautiful imagination is active and you can program it to bring you a better tomorrow. Your evening ritual, if you are recalibrating and letting the day wash through and maybe thinking about some of the lessons you might have learned and what you might do differently, pay attention to yourself in the evening. Do some self-care. I would recommend a shower or a hot bath, like we said, with salts. You can listen to a sound bath. You can journal. It's a great time to journal, because you can also journal your intentions and your visions and go to sleep with that energy. The liminal space in between wakefulness and sleep, when you're falling asleep, is a very potent time. The more you do this, the more you will find that you bring with you a sense of calm into your day, which impacts everybody around you, because you are the clearest frequency available in a given room. And monitoring and controlling your energy in this way, morning and night, makes a huge difference for the kind of day you have, which makes a huge difference for the kind of life you have. We're talking about the mind, and a lot of this has to do with calming the mind and training it to do something different. And there are also videos on here about that, about calming and training the monkey mind. I have a friend once who used to laugh so hard at our beautiful brains. He would say, "Oh yes, my brain is telling me I don't know how to sit still and do nothing." If you sit for long enough, regularly, you will start to notice that chatter in your mind calms down, and then you get into this beautiful silence and spaciousness and awareness and presence, and it's life-changing. You can take this with you. It is more of the truth of who you are than anything that happens out in the world. And our minds are always telling us stories. Somebody, I think it was Eileen Wilder, who's a gal online, said something like, we are always telling ourselves stories. So it would be good for us to learn to tell ourselves better stories. I completely agree. As I have said here elsewhere, and so many people have shared, our minds make terrible masters, but they're a beautiful tool, and we are meant to use them that way, as a tool. So you will find that you start having more and more discernment as to what thoughts you wish to keep in your head. Like a gardener, and I've said that elsewhere too, you get to choose. You get to weed that garden and choose the thoughts that you keep, that support you, that nourish you, that don't sabotage you. What voices in your head are not even yours and were instilled there from society. And the same is true with your energy. The discernment you start to have is part of that skill of managing and protecting your energy and holding your own vibration and frequency. Okay, we're finally at number 12, the last point, although I do have a bonus for you. This is a beautiful overarching category that has to do with your personality blueprint, why you are the way you are, what you came here with in this life in terms of gifts and strengths, and why it feels so bad when you are not living that way. And so there are a lot of tools in this category. I'll just name a couple. One of them is the gene keys. One of them is human design. The Enneagram comes to mind. There are a lot of these where in the old paradigm we would have done personality tests for job interviews, for instance. This is a more encompassing, much deeper look at why you are the way you are. And I will be the first to admit that I did not believe in these. I didn't put any stock in them when I first heard about them. Human design, gene keys, all of this stuff. I just thought it was like another personality test. But they are so much more, and they offer the most beautiful, deep wisdom. Some say they were downloads from the divine. And I can see why, because when someone finally cracked through to me, people had been telling me about these things for years, but when I finally got it and someone really showed me, okay, here's what your strengths are, here's what it's like to be you, Shauna, and why when you do this, it doesn't work, and why when you do this, it works. And I sobbed when someone finally properly read this to me. I had so much recognition of self and so much validation of why I had experienced so many things that I did. It is powerful, powerful when you can have a really good reading of one of these tests that are far deeper than just a personality test. I highly encourage you to look into this. The gene keys are so beautiful. Even if you don't have yours read, your specific ones, they apply to all human beings. And the wisdom is profound. It shows our shadow work. It shows why there are gifts in there. It shows the highest gifts that we have. It shows all of these different ways that we can behave, why they work, why they don't. I don't want to go into too much because I am not an expert in this field at all. All I can share is that it is powerful, life-changing, transformational work if you choose to have this done. And you will, I know you will, because I've had this before many times now, come back and say thank you, because that's what I did to the person who kept insisting that I get this done. And I was like, no, I don't really believe in that. Wow, I am telling you guys, this is super, super powerful and informs everything else in your life. Going forward and backwards, you really have this retrospective healing and awareness and expansion as to why things were the way they were. And it's so, so helpful. So that is my last official tip for you today. So here's the bonus tip, a baker's dozen, as it were. Number 13, it has to do with if you're feeling depressed. And I heard someone say the most beautiful thing, I have always remembered it, and I want to share it with you. They said, the opposite of depression is not joy or happiness. It's expression. Depression, expression. How beautiful is that? Someone I know and love dearly once had a therapist tell them, take all that pain that you are experiencing and feeling and put it into your art. They were a part-time artist, just kind of dabbling, but of course it makes sense. How many artists' work do we love over the centuries that was born from angst, born from pain, born from unrequited love, whatever those powerful, strong, painful feelings were? That is where art is born a lot of the time. And just expressing out of your body whatever it is that has been depressed and making you feel depressed is such a beautiful catalyst and release for you to feel better. So sing. You don't have to share your art or your song or your poem or anything with anybody, but express. Express your life force. Express your creativity. We have lost our sense of creativity, and being creative is such a beautiful tool for us to feel better and feel more whole and feel expressed. That'll do for today. Like I said, I hope that this is valuable for all of us as we learn to protect our vibe, protect our energy, know who we are, and be able to hold that on a daily basis and feel like we have the tools and the skills to get back into our hearts, to get back into our calm energy when we need it. So have fun playing with these, and I hope that it helps dissipate some of that unconscious pattern, reactive energy that we all experience sometimes, and that you feel your heart more open, you feel more peace, you feel more hope, and you can protect your vibe.